Hi guys, it's Foye, but you can call me Foye.
Hey, this is Lola, but you can call me Lola if you like. And this is the Everybody Hates HR podcast, episode 30. Can you believe?
I know,
episode 30.
Episode 30.
That's so,
we made it.
Literally, like,
we made it.
That's so many weeks.
Yeah. It's
Imagine
a lot
when we
of
get
weeks.
to episode 50 and it's like basically a year.
That would be a year.
It's come around just like that though.
We're over halfway.
That's crazy.
It's like bittersweet. It's like 30 milestone, but Velisa's not here.
She's not feeling very well.
Yeah, so
It's really been, like, life has really been getting us.
life has been lifing.
Yeah,
lately.
but we do hope to be back, if not next week, the week after, as a threesome again. So yeah, Velisa, we miss you. Come back.
We miss you.
Get better soon. This is probably the first episode in a long time where we're like kind of recording in real time. The last probably 3 or 4 episodes we've done in advance. So this is like real time. Today is Monday and you guys will be listening to this on Friday. So yeah, we're back with you. Life has been lifing. So we're happy that we had some content in the bag. But how's your week been? How's the last few weeks been? You've been away.
I have been away. I went to Zanzibar and why am I back here? Why am I in London? Why am I in the ghetto? Why am I here?
Actually, do you know it's really funny? Because the last episode we put out, you weren't there because you were sick. So it's gonna make, if you listen to last week's episode, you're gonna be like, wait,
look
what?
like I was lying.
But
no,
that was
I was
like
sick.
weeks and weeks and weeks ago.
Yeah, I was
not you
sick
calling in sick for the podcast.
I was sick just before I went to Zanzibar, but I got better.
Miraculously.
Yeah, obviously. The sun, the food, the weather. It was so much fun. Like, I really enjoyed it.
What was your holiday highlight?
Swimming with the sea turtles.
Have you seen that thing on social media where the turtles, obviously not sea turtles, but they're like bashing black shoes or something?
Oh yeah.
What is that?
I don't know. I think it's something to do with like shadows though. I don't think they're not actually racist.
No, I didn't. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. No, I just thought like that. I don't.
No, I think that's what people were trying to say. Like the turtles are racist.
No, but they're nice to you though, innit?
Yeah, these are sea turtles. Those ones were like the land
house turtles.
I don't know what they were, but these were so. It felt like it wasn't even real.
How big were they?
Huge, like the size of this table, and those ones were like 23, and they lived to about 125. So yeah. But it was so nice because they are injured turtles and they're sort of nursing them back. Oh, cute. And then they release them back into the ocean when they're...
Do you know what? Recently, I've taken a small break from true crime to... I've started watching a lot of documentaries, like David Attenborough types.
I love
David Attenborough. There's one called Wild Babies on Netflix, and it's basically about animals having kids in the wild. Yeah. And what I learned about sea turtles is they never meet their parents. So basically the parents, like the mothers, they go to this beach, they lay and bury all their eggs, and then they make it back. Then they go back to the sea, and so many of them didn't make it back. Like they got caught by like animals and stuff on the way. And then the turtles hatch. They dig their way out of the sand and they just swim, and they never meet their parents.
That's crazy.
Mate, I'm really becoming like a really knowledgeable animal person.
Yeah. That trip did make me realize I'm such an animal person though, because we went to see the dolphins as well and the monkeys in the rainforest. That was really nice, and I was the only one in my family that was like, yes, let's go to the rainforest, like we have to go. And they were like, why are we here, and my legs and da 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 da. But I was like, no, we have to go to the rainforest.
I love that you went with your family too.
So cute. Family holiday. Nice, it was needed.
Do you know? Yeah, and I think I like the fact that they were like the animals in the wild, because I remember there was this time, I think I was in like Malaysia, and they had this like city zoo, and we went, and I think that was the day where I was just like, I can't go to zoos anymore. Yeah, there was like an albino monkey, and I swear to God, like it was looking at me like with its eyes, like help me. But then they just said that because their eyes shake or whatever, so he wasn't actually doing that. But I was so sure that the monkey was like trying to signal to me and my friend like, you need to get me out of
help
here.
me. Yeah,
it was so distressing.
I was very conscious of doing that, to be fair. So the monkeys were in the rainforest. The turtles, they were in the sanctuary, but it was for their goods. And the dolphins, actually went to the sea, like the ocean. What was really funny is when we went to the ocean, we went to an island that was owned by Bill Gates, a private island. And you weren't allowed to touch the island, like with your hand, with your feet, with the boat. And if you touch the island for more than 3 seconds, you're fined $500.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who's checking that you're touching the island?
I don't know. There must be security somewhere.
To be honest, it's Bill Gates, so I imagine that the tech is teching.
Yeah, there must be security somewhere, but that's what we were told. And I thought, like, that's mad. But the island was gorgeous, like, very beautiful.
Oh, I'd love to have a private island. I don't even know if I would ever. Like, I think I just have lots of parties.
Bring all your family over.
But I would like it for a time. But yeah, I haven't been really. Oh no, wait! I was gonna say I haven't been on holiday, but I did go. No, I did go. I was even saying I'm jealous. I went to Florence this week, just gone. Yeah, my friend was getting married. Shout out you, Alison and John Marco. We appreciate you. We love you. Happy married life and all that. And that was just so lovely. Like they had their traditional wedding. They're both Nigerian. They had their traditional wedding in August, and it was like massive. Yeah, in London, and I just felt like it was big and like very respectfully to them. I remember coming out of that thinking I will never do this. It just felt like it was so lovely, but I know behind the scenes like it just felt stressful. But then this one was like the complete opposite. I think the first one was have like 200 to 300 people, and this one had 80 people, and like everything was in the hotel, and they got to get married outside, and then the venue where they actually got married was like inside it was like all painted and gold and stuff like that. So you don't need like decor. It was just all the flowers. It was just very beautiful.
It's the flowers for me. Yeah. I just know that they'll be so nice.
Exactly, and it just felt so intimate. And even when she was like walking down the aisle, one of my friends, like she was a bridesmaid, and she was literally smiling like it was her own wedding. Like it was just hilarious. Like everybody was just so like happy. You know, like that's the kind of wedding that I would want, where it's like intimate. Everybody that's there is for you. Yeah. And like, for sure, you know, they're not just coming to eat rice. Do you get what I mean? So it was like, and the food was good. It was all Italian, and we got to stay in a really cool villa, which my villa I thought was haunted. But
haunted?
Yeah.
Why?
They had, apparently the lady that owned the villa, she was 94 or something. Okay. And I swear we just saw her walking around like the top floor, and I wasn't sure.
Physically saw her?
I saw her, but we weren't sure if she was alive or not. It's a long story, but trust me, it was haunted. But it was really great, even though it was haunted. It was like amazing. And then the worker, obviously there was workers and stuff there, and they had these 3 poodles that lived in the. Oh, it was so nice. One of them was called Rose. One of them was called Ed, and the other one was called Ugo, like Igbo, so we just started calling him Ugo Chuku. It was really good. But yeah, so
what was the weather like?
It was really nice. Like it was between like 23 and 27 at this time of year, which I thought was nice, fantastic. But yeah, it's been like nice family time, friend time. Blah, blah. But yeah, I'm ready to like I've taken quite a bit of time off work as well, so now like I'm back to like work mode and stuff like that.
Cool. All good.
I did leave in terms of getting into the actual content of the podcast. I have never in my life left, like I do like LinkedIn. I use it. It's a bit rubbish sometimes, like with everyone just like announcing, and right now everybody's pretty much being made redundant. But I've never really commented anything on LinkedIn which was not, oh, congratulations, well done, that's amazing. And this week I left my very first like comment, which was negative, and I felt so good about it.
I know, because I said in the group chat. I know.
So basically, in the news last week, whilst I was away, there was news about this a partner at Deloitte. So I used to work at Deloitte, and it was a partner from the team I used to work in. And basically, he had gone to Ascot. A couple of them had gone from the team, or I don't know how many of them went, but he basically got drunk and went on a 30-minute rant, sexist, racist rant, and he did it in front of some junior like employees in the team who were all from like minority groups, and they complained, and it was like taken seriously. And I was so happy because he was in the team when I was there. He's been at the in the company for like 12 years, but he was literally in my team. Like I see him every day, and I was not surprised at all because he used to say racist, sexist things all the time. So much so that it became like his personal brand. Like everybody knew him for saying racist, sexist things, like jokes, but like, you know, jokes that are actually just not funny. They're just racist.
Yeah.
Or they're just sexist. Like I once heard him call somebody in the team a dirty bitch. I heard him refer to a colleague who was Asian, and we had got these new headsets, and he said that they suited her and she looked like she should work in a call center because obviously she's Indian. And just like those are like the more mild ones. There's like loads of stuff.
Insane.
And yeah, and he got called out for it, and I was really surprised that something had happened, because it's not like it was never a secret. Like everybody knew that he said these things. And the worst part about it was that even though they complained and stuff, he's leaving the business now because of it, but they're packaging it as retirement. They're letting him basically retire early. So he's going to get all of his, like, he's not going to have the black mark on his name of being like dismissed.
We need to stop letting old
white men
in particular get away with this because that's very normal, you know. He's not the first person that will happen to. It's very normal to sort of, early retirement, here's a nice package of X amount of figures, and, you know, also a pat on the back and clap and cheers your way out.
He did really well while he was here. Yeah. And you know what?
Nastiness.
The worst part is, like, even clients complained about him. Like some of the clients, especially like female clients, they didn't like him. But obviously a lot of the clients just found what he said like funny and banter, and like obviously the clients that are like him. And so people said he was a bit Marmite, like you love him or you hate him. But he literally said racist, sexist things all the time. And I cannot imagine what he would have said when he was very drunk.
But that's so crazy. So do you feel like he even lasted that long because he brought money in for the business?
100%. Like, because there's no, like, in an organization like that, especially doing what he did, it was quite niche. He did like executive compensation, and so it's not easy to find people with that much experience. And actually the comment that I had left was in regards to another person that I used to work with in that team had put a post out saying, it's easy to villainize one person, but really right now what we need to do is show this guy compassion. I was like, compassion?
Yeah, that person was moving mad.
He should have been fired, mate. Like, I just think he was like, because it's a systematic issue. It's not just him. And I was like, it is a systematic issue because everyone knew it was happening and they allowed it to persist. Yeah. And all it does is create an environment. If you're someone like me or another like minority colleague or a woman, it just makes it seem like it doesn't, like you're valued less. So I get that as a concept, but he doesn't need compassion. Like he actually needs consequences, and he hasn't had them. And the thing that made it really like much worse for me is probably about 1.5 years ago, there was a partner, a lady, an Asian lady, her name was Dimple, She, when I was there, she used to do a lot of diversity stuff like with us when we was running like the networks and stuff, and she was always very supportive. And she was basically accused of bullying. And when they accused her by some junior member of staff, and when they accused her of bullying, basically they just dropped her. Deloitte just dropped her. Like they basically left her. They fed her to the wolves. The media dragged her. She was humiliated. Like it was on all the front pages of newspapers, and they didn't package it as a retirement. And it turns out that it was baseless. There was no real evidence, and she sued them. A year later, she sued them after she had like picked herself off the floor, and she won £8 million. And this guy, they let him retire. Yeah,
that's how it is. But what do you think? Because obviously HR was involved at some level. What do you feel? How can companies improve that? How can they have more integrity when it comes to things like that? Because an employee is making X amount of money should not mean they're above the law when it comes to certain things.
Yeah, I think in that sort of organization, it's very hard because it's a partnership. And so in a partnership, basically the partners are owners of the organization, and also they get profit share. So you're very financially motivated. Yeah, he was a partner. Yeah, he was a partner. And you're very financially motivated.
Yeah.
So let's say you're like, okay, this guy's a bit offensive, but he brings so much money into the partnership, money that ends up in my pocket as well, because I get a share of it. So what's more, like, it's very easy to be like, okay, what's more important, the money that he's bringing in or a few junior employees, and especially when a lot of people are not like so vocal about speaking out, because obviously you're literally the most senior person, one of the most senior people in the organization. It's very hard to speak out against you because the other partners will most likely have your back. So it's really hard, but you just really need to like really live the values that you're saying that you had, like, and sometimes I think it's easy to think that it doesn't have an impact on people.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, it does. I remember, I don't know if I spoke about it on the pod, but there was a time when I was in that team when another member of the team used the N-word by accident in an IM chat to a black colleague, and it became a thing, obviously.
How do you use it by accident?
So he didn't use it by accident. He used it on purpose, but he put it in the wrong chat.
Yeah, exactly.
So he was speaking to one of his white mates, and he said, "Oh, do you want to go for tea, N-word?" Because apparently that's cool to.
Because that's just cool to
casual,
say, like,
with the hard ER,
with
the hard ER.
It's funny, obviously.
And then call it a Freudian slip or whatever, but he sent it to a black colleague, and then when that was being addressed, this partner that has been, now retired for the racist, sexist rant, he was the person who stood up and had to address it in the comms meeting. He didn't address it directly. Rather than saying, let's not be racist and say racist things at work, he said, oh, we all know IM is good for banter, but we should really be using it for work purposes only. That's
why do we all know it's when was it all used for banter?
Yeah, exactly. Like, why? And also, that's not the point. It's not about how
exactly.
you use IM.
I'm even trying to justify
it was just nonsense.
Just not,
and it was literally that
acceptable.
partner, and that's the partner that they put forward, and HR was in the room. So I remember that was the day I thought, yeah, that was literally the day I opted out, and I said, I can be here for however long, but I would never pool my money with these people.
Well, this is the thing. This is why when we speak about what when you're working and you're at a job, why are you there? Because if you're there and you can sort of block out all of these things, then you're a better person than I am. But I can't. My values have to align with the business's values. Otherwise, it makes it very uncomfortable for me to work in that environment. And I've worked in a partnership as well, like a company that works on a partnership model. And luckily for me, they had a lot of integrity and they weren't afraid to. Sometimes, it's obviously a lot more sensitive, but they were never afraid to tackle issues at that level, regardless of who it was. And I appreciated that, because I don't know if I could be in HR and continuously see certain people get away with things or say things and it kind of goes under the radar because they bring money in, personally. Yeah. But I understand that it does happen.
Yeah. Honestly, I worked in another business like that. I think I've mentioned it before. I lasted 9 months. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
So that happened. And by the way, his name is Stephen Cahill, or Cahill, and he is now being retired from Deloitte for going on a 30-minute drunken, racist, sexist rant.
Yeah.
But, shout out to those employees that raised their voices and said it wasn't okay and had the courage to challenge somebody that senior at that level. I respect them. It's more than I was able to do in that exact same team.
That's crazy. Oh, is it the same team?
He literally was the partner in my team. Same team. I worked with him.
Wow.
Same team. That is the team that I used to work in. So literally they are he was my colleague or my superior in that environment, but he worked in a slightly different sub team. But yeah, that is the team that I worked in.
And on the LinkedIn comments, what were a lot of people on his side in terms of showing that compassion, or was it quite split?
I think that particular post, the guy is somebody I used to work with in that same team, and he's now decided he wants to be a life coach. So I think he was just trying to be all life coachy and deep, and everybody basically rinsed him in the comments, which I'm very happy about. But generally, like when I went on a couple of the articles, like I think there's one on City AM and some other places, in the comments people were like, oh, sounds like someone that you'd want to have a beer with, sounds like, oh, someone who like, well, you are like saying stuff like, oh, you can't say anything these days. And I'm like, it's not that you can't say anything. They didn't even expressly say what he said. They said he went on a racist, sexist rant. Why would you be like, oh, you can't say anything? Oh,
why would you want to say that?
You can't even go on a racist, sexist rant these days without anybody saying anything to you.
As if that's something that you would
aspire
want to be doing anyway.
But yeah, loads of people in the comments were like, oh God, like, is it even that deep? Like, he was having a drink, he wasn't at work, you know, is it even their business? If you don't like it, you should leave. So when I tell you the public at large is literally full of cretins.
Yeah. We know.
Yeah, so
we know.
There are a lot of useless people out there, very stupid people. There was I think there was an article that you were speaking about in terms of another topic around millennials migrating or something.
Yeah, so even when I was in Zanzibar, I was just like, wow, do I have to go back? Like, can I really start a life here and just be happy? It's so much more peaceful, free. Like, there's no stresses in that country. And you know what? They say Hakuna Matata.
Do they actually? What language is that, Swiftly?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like, it's everywhere. And that just heightens everything. You're just like, everything here is just amazing. Like, Hakuna Matata, like everywhere.
I was really ready to sing.
Huh?
I was really ready to sing. I've stopped myself.
So, yeah. And then... so just to link it back to the article, there was a certain percentage of Londoners now that have started to fly the nest
and leave London.
It's just turning into the ghetto.
I'm not surprised, actually.
Yeah, so nearly 700,000, which is just under 10% of London's population, are fleeing the city or fled the city in 2020. Obviously, we do know a lot of it will have to do with the pandemic as well, because a lot of companies now allow their employees to work remotely. So that does help as well. But just the fact that people are making the decision to leave the country and work or live in another country is interesting.
Are they fleeing London and staying in the UK, or fleeing London and leaving the UK?
So it's a bit of both, but they're just leaving London. And to be honest, if we had a full conversation about it, we could probably debunk it, which is a lot of people will leave London full stop because it's just very expensive and cost of living is rising ridiculously. And I guess at that millennial age, a lot of people are probably trying to get on the property ladder, and probably very hard to do. Not probably, is very hard to do in London. And
now they can actually work somewhere else and still get London money.
Yeah, exactly. London money, maybe be with family, maybe have more sun. Like, there are a lot of pros.
Returning home, like, sometimes I feel that we also forget that lots of the people in London are not from London.
Don't live in London. Yeah, that's like, very true.
They like, when I know whenever, like, even when I work, like, a lot of the people I work with are not, like, I don't say native to London, but they weren't born and raised in London. They've moved to London for opportunities. Yeah. So and now I guess you can kind of get those opportunities whilst not living in London.
Yeah. Would you leave London?
The thing is, if I was leaving London, I'd be leaving the UK.
Where would you go to?
I don't know, but there's nowhere else in London that appeals. I mean, nowhere else in the UK that appeals to me to live in. Like, I've spent quite a bit of time in Manchester because of work, and I like Manchester, but would I want to live there? No, partly because my family is in London and my network is in London, but also because it's just not. It just doesn't give the same vibe. Like, there's less
doesn't
things
hit
to
the same.
do, and like, yeah, and everybody, the internet Twitter especially loves to go through these like periodic conversations around, oh, you Londoners, you're so wedded to London, like, why don't you just move?
No, but you do know it's spiritual bondage for Londoners. London, like, why don't we just move?
No, I'm going to explain it once and for all. So those of you asking this stupid question, you've been listening to me now. in London, like people, Londoners, their families are in London. There's other people, like for instance, if you live in Manchester, your family's in Manchester. You live in Newcastle, your family's in Newcastle. The difference with Londoners is that other people are happy to leave their homes because they usually go in search of opportunity. Most of the opportunity is here.
Okay.
Like there are opportunities to go elsewhere and do other things, but it's much easier for you to leave somewhere to go leave one place to go to another place where there's more opportunity. Why it's very hard to leave your family and your everything you've known, and on top of that know that it's probably going to be harder to find opportunities, and harder especially if you're in a minority group. There's limited places that you can go that you may feel comfortable. I'm not going to up sticks and move to the country. That's just not for me. But I want to be around a certain demographic of people so that I don't feel like the only one. But when people say, oh, like I'm from Birmingham and I moved, or I'm from Wales, or I'm from some other place, it's very different. So that's my thing. Some people do move out of London because they're not in that sort of spiritual bondage, but that people need to
shout out to them. They're the real winners.
I don't know if they are.
They are. They are the real
I don't
winners.
know. You know,
if you can detach yourself, you can thrive.
You can, and you know what? Winning is different for everybody. Winning is different. It is, because if that's what you want, and some Londoners, they also hate London. Like I've got a friend, and she's got a son, and she's like, there's no way, like when her son gets to a certain age, they have to move, and I get it.
But I get that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I get it.
That.
But in terms of at the age I'm at now, childless, there's no incentive for me to move elsewhere. And
I hear it.
I don't know. Like I just feel like my friends, my family, everyone's here. Like okay, look. The opportunity would just have to be a mad one.
So financially
or experience wise. And it's not, when I say a mad one, just not, oh, you can buy a really big house, because like, I don't know. I just feel like people don't want to leave their support system, and that's normal.
That would be my main thing, because financially, you can get that anywhere these days. Like you can actually work for a US company. Like you can work in another country and get the same amount of money that somewhere in London pays you. Maybe not in the UK, but remotely for another company you can. So that wouldn't be my sort of like bondage to London. It's not because I can make the most money in London, but it would be my support system in terms of my family.
Yeah, I would just need a lot of incentive. Like my brother, he moved to Qatar like years ago. Now he's been in the Middle East since like 2015, and just been to various different countries. And for him and his wife and their kids, the opportunity was really great. Like I think it was a big opportunity to have a completely different lifestyle than like you would have had otherwise, to be able to expose your kids to different things, to be able to earn more money than you would ever earn here, and just live different. So I completely get that. That's the kind of opportunity, the kind of shift in lifestyle, or the kind of the scale of opportunity that I would need to leave London. And when I say leave London, I don't mean commuter town. I'm talking about in and around London. Kent for me is like not that far. Do you get what I mean? That's the
most I would go.
Kent, or like people that go to Hertfordshire, St Albans, Hemel Hempstead.
That's like, too far for me.
But you know what I mean?
But I get what you mean.
Watford, or Essex, and I'm not talking about those kind of leaving London. I'm talking about you are not within like drivable distance, within like 45 minutes, 1 hour of London, like moving away from London. Commuter towns for me, I get that. Like I would move to Kent, like, and it wouldn't pain me. Yeah,
of course. It's interesting. I wonder how many people have thought about leaving the country or moving and starting a new life.
I think in this day and age,
have done it.
Everybody. We've all woken up one day and thought, no, I need to leave.
I know, but the people that actually do it, that's a different.
You know who's really good at doing it? Teachers, because there's just so many opportunities. Teachers, nurses as well. Yeah. There's so many opportunities for them to kind of take their skills and go. And I know so many teachers who have done it. And I actually don't know anybody who, even if it hasn't necessarily worked out the way they want to, I don't know anybody who has ever regretted leaving the UK, even if it's just for a period of time, and even if it didn't work out the way they wanted to. Yeah. The experience has always been valued.
I think the same. And that's what it is as well. If anything, it's an experience which you can get clouded by if you just live in London.
Yeah, London is not the place for experience. Like, literally, the main reason I'm in bondage here is because of my family and my network, and because I don't want to, like, not say I don't want to make new friends. I would make new friends.
Lola said no new friends.
No, but I don't want to, like, I will miss people. I would. Like, I'm like, I don't want it to be like a big deal to go and see my friends. Like, now we can just be like, oh, do you want to do da, 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 and stuff like that. And also, some people say that they'll move out when they have kids and stuff, but for me, like, I think that will even make it harder for me to move, because when I eventually, like, start a family, I want to have my family close. Like, I can't imagine having, like, my first baby and my mum is an hour away, or do you know what I mean, like 2 hours away. Like, that would be so sad. Like,
I get it. I get it. It makes sense.
But then then I just have to figure out, like, I might have to sell drugs, because I do want a big house.
How did we get here?
No, because that's the trade-off, isn't it? Like, I'm in bondage in London, but I do also want a big house.
That is hilarious.
I'm gonna have to sell drugs.
How did we get here?
I saw a guy on TikTok who was talking about nursery fees, and he was like, I'm really open to crime.
Oh, I think I saw that. Nursery fees are so rude. I think I saw someone atting Rishi Sunak about it. I don't think he responded, but they were atting him like,
what are you going to do about this?
Yeah. We'll see what he does about everything.
Speaking of Rishi, we haven't even spoken about him.
Yeah. I mean, this is like deja vu, because not too long ago we were literally saying, what Prime Minister are you talking about? Or we were saying, how long we thought Liz Truss was gonna be around, and
you know what?
Velisa accurately.
Exactly. Velisa made some predictions about what they were going to do to Liz Truss, and literally it played out like she could see like the future. Yeah. She said they're going to put her in a job that they know she can't do. They're going to, they're going to set her up to fail. And then as soon as she starts failing, they're all going to say they don't have confidence. And then she's going to be out. And that's literally what happened.
That was it.
Like, and then she also said that she doesn't want a black man or there was a black woman as a prime minister. But she also spoke about, like, being an ethnic minority in that position, they'll start using you to say that, like,
I said they'll use him as a scapegoat, and that's exactly what they did.
And they did. Imagine coming out as the chancellor, agreeing the policies with the prime minister, then the policies don't work, and the prime minister has now disassociated herself, and she's saying, why did you do that? Like, she's not your manager.
And we also spoke about that too.
We spoke
about managers, feeding their teammates to the wolves.
That's literally what she did.
That's exactly what she did. She
was like, yeah, you're out of here.
Exactly. But what was also very interesting was that, did you realize how he got fired and she got to step down, resign?
Yeah, but it's very hard to fire the prime minister. They really just have to resign, don't they?
No, but why couldn't they let him step down also?
Oh, that's so true. No, that's true. Down? That's true. And other people, like, what's her name? Suella Braverman. She got to step down. The new Priti Patel. Oh. The one who was like, I would love to upset the leftists. She was like, I'm very proud of Empire. And I was like, I'm very proud of the British Empire. And she was talking about, my parents came here through safe and legal means, so it's different. But those safe and legal means that your parents came here through, you're revoking them. They don't exist anymore. She's like, my parents came here from Kenya. And I was like, do you even know why your parents...
From where?
Kenya.
Is that
Kenya. Yeah, that's how they say it, apparently.
Is that how you say it?
I don't know if that's how the Queen says it.
Oh.
And that's how Suella Braverman says it. But she was saying, yeah, my parents came here from Kenya and blah, 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 blah. And they said, under your current policies, your parents wouldn't have been able to come here. And she said, yeah, well, the game is the game.
Like tough.
Yeah.
Snooze, you lose.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, she was able to step down as well. So yeah, it's just humiliating, isn't it, to be fired? And like,
I just feel like it's got a lot to
how
do
many
with
days
race.
Was it like a month before he got fired?
I think so.
Yeah, it's very embarrassing for him.
Oh my gosh, very embarrassing. And someone was saying, imagine, like, obviously his family are really happy. They're telling everybody, all of their, like, it's a big achievement. And then
I feel like his is just more humiliating. At
it's
least
so embarrassing.
Liz,
They should have let him step down.
yeah, they were saying that, you know, the prime minister will now get, like, if you're a prime minister, there's a rule that you'll get 115k every year till you die.
Yeah. So someone said that's the quickest way to add passive income. Become prime minister and somehow just quit.
Literally 44 days or whatever it was. And now she's going to get 100. Do you know what? Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it for her.
I genuinely think, I said this in the group chat, I genuinely think this whole ordeal was banter. I don't think she ever had any intention of doing a single thing. I think she thought, do you really think I can do it?
Like, you know
do you think I should try?
I've got nothing to lose.
Exactly.
I'll go in and then, you know, worst case scenario, I get 115k forever.
I just feel like
She's
she
literally
thought, let me
made
just
millions
see.
of pounds from 44 days.
Because as she was, and bear in mind, she was not working for all of those 44 days because the Queen passed away. So I think there's like 10 days of
Morning.
nothing. Yeah, exactly. But no.
It's crazy that is even like a rule. My favorite thing about all of this, right, is that obviously Rishi became prime minister kind of by default, isn't it? Like the other person dropped out and now he's prime minister. And
I think he should have became it originally.
Yeah, but it's even better now because
It's
he's
just
got
kind
to
of like finish what you started.
He will
bro.
compare more favorably than the person that was in for 44 days.
Yeah.
Isn't it? But my favorite thing is that all of the racist Tories are so upset by it. If you're like, he's not English, he's brown. If you see them on
Boris
Twitter,
Johnson was born in America.
yeah, but they're white, you know, so that's fine. Was the queen not German or something, or like?
Yeah.
They don't care that.
It's just,
he is not from. They was like, if a white person was born in India, would they call him Indian? And I'm just like, no.
Oh, I heard someone on. Is it LBC?
Oh,
The
yeah. Oh,
racists
nonsense.
really showed
Nonsense.
themselves on that radio station. She's like, no, but you just can't say that he's British. Like, and I think what's that Labour black MP?
Chukwamina.
No.
Oh no, he's not.
Maybe he's not Labour.
He's
I'm
not
so
Labour.
bad with politics.
Which one?
Is
Diane
it like?
Abbott?
Is it Lammy?
Oh, David Lammy.
Is he Labour?
Yeah.
Okay. He was arguing with this lady and he was just like, I'm like no more British than you are, like to this lady, and she's like, you're not British though, because to David Lammy.
Yeah. Okay.
And she was just like, you're not British because he was like, but I was born here. He's like, that doesn't make you British. Being born here doesn't make you British. And she was like, if a horse was born in, does that like, it's still a horse. It doesn't make it like a camel if it was born in the desert, or whatever analogy that she was using. And they were going back and forth, and I was just like, the racists really, really show themselves, because I'm sorry, but people really need to educate themselves in history and understand that a lot of people were invited to this country, like, and some weren't even invited. Some were dragged, like forcefully
a lot
dragged
of people were invited
in this country.
And then also the ones that weren't invited, they're only here because you went to their country and
you
taught them your language
by force.
You taught them your language,
So,
and you taught them your customs, and now this feels like home.
I personally feel like they are within their rights to say this is home.
This is literally this country is literally their inheritance. So like, it's so bad. And they used those there was a post I saw from another like really irate person. He was like, we've got a is Sadiq Khan Pakistani? Yeah, there's like, we've got a Pakistani mayor and an Indian prime minister. What this is the end of Great Britain. And I'm telling you, the picture they used of Sadiq Khan. When you ever see Sadiq Khan, what is he wearing?
Suit.
Yes. So they found a picture. Sadiq Khan is always wearing a suit, even when he shouldn't be wearing a suit. Sadiq Khan will wear a suit and a hard hat and a high vis, but he's always wearing a suit. They found a picture of him. It must have been at Friday prayer or something, yeah. And he was like wearing like, he was just like he was going to the mosque, but he was wearing his hat. And I think his hands were even out like he was praying.
Oh my god!
And that's the picture that they used to say. Did they say we have a they said we have a Pakistani Muslim, what's it called? Mayor, and then we have an Indian Hindu prime minister. And it was Diwali. So I think they had an old picture of him at Diwali with, or like at some sort of festival, either lighting the candles or with the flowers around his neck. And I thought of all the images that you could have used. Like, this is actually propaganda.
It's proper propaganda.
Sadiq Khan, yeah, I always prefer, why are you wearing a suit? He'll be on a building site wearing a suit and a hard hat and a high vis. But you found like a picture of him at prayer.
Always. Like, propaganda in this country is.
But I love it because it is if anything is going to force the general election, it's then the Tories are going to be like, oh, we don't want this, you know, they're going to be really upset, and then that could be how we get it. Like, their own racism could cause them to come proper.
Maybe so. Isn't it funny how it's kind of like, you know, you're allowed to play certain roles, but you can't get this far. Like, you're allowed to be a Tory, even though you're not white, but you can't ever get to Prime Minister.
It's like,
that plays out in the workplace.
It's so true.
It plays out in the workplace all the time.
It's like, if you're like, we're happy to have you around, but just stay in your lane.
Yeah, like, don't get too comfortable.
Yeah, like, if you want to be a worker bee, you want to contribute to the cause, but don't try and become queen bee.
We're also happy to gain clout off you too, by the way. We're also happy to be like, you are the token black person, the token brown person, whatever. And, you know, we want the public to see you as we are doing this amazing thing. But deep down inside, just know you can never go further than this.
That's what I think about, like, Suella Braverman or Priti Patel. Everyone loves their policies. Like, apparently there was an argument between Liz Truss, I think, who was it? Was it Jeremy Hunt and Suella Braverman, because they thought her stance was too hard on immigration. Imagine your life, where you're an Asian MP and your white Tory counterparts are having to tell you to calm down on your immigration stance. Like, we don't have to ship all of them. Like, they're literally telling you, oh no, Suella, you're going a bit far now. Like, let's relax it. Imagine when your Tory counterparts are saying, like, you're literally, it's too much now.
What a world.
It's actually just, it's crazy. But yeah, they hate it. And that's the only reason that Liz Truss became Prime Minister anyway, because they just couldn't stomach the idea of it being Rishi. But he must just be like, he must be so happy now.
Yeah, it's kind of like
I don't know how long he'll last, because you know, lots of people won't want him around. Even if he does
no one's lasting long anyway. So
did you see that video of that MP who was like, it was a Tory MP, and he was like, I'm livid. Did you see it? There was a Tory MP, and he was basically like, before Liz Truss resigned, he was just like, oh, you know, they're just doing nonsense. I can't believe it. The way they're behaving, I'm appalled. And somebody had quote tweeted it and said, it's so funny because in order to understand how angry he is, you have to be British, because to everybody else he seems quite calm, but he was like, I'm livid. But you know, like, and that's as angry as like a posh British person. I am livid.
Even the word livid.
Yeah, he was, I'm sorry to say it, but I'm livid.
Oh, I would actually just burst out laughing.
I actually just want, like, obviously party politics aside, I just want this stuff in this country to just get better. So like, no, we've got Rishi. If literally do the job.
Let's see.
If the general election comes, we'll have to, you know, to be honest.
We say this every time a general election comes up.
Also, Labour are really doing nothing. Like, Keir Starmer is like literally an open goal. Like, there's so many things, there's so many opportunities to call the general election or just to discredit the Tory party. You're not doing anything. I think he's an undercover Tory.
I just think he's just staying in his lane, and he knows he can't fulfill whatever is needed.
That's why I say,
like, I won't do too much.
If Rishi's there, I just want him to do what's best for everybody.
Yeah, and like, hopefully that happens, but
and address the cost of living crisis and all of these other things, you know. Just whatever. And just, I don't know, the climate crisis. That's why just stop oil people.
The world,
just stop oil people. They're literally like, have you seen
gluing themselves to paintings?
They're actually and walls, and they're actually taking it far.
Going into Harrods and spilling soup on the floor.
Today they did the News International building. No, they did. They said they hit the 4 pillars of oil. Something about the companies themselves, the media, the finance. So I think they did it to Bank of England. They sprayed it orange. They did it to News International, the people that own all those, you know, nonsense newspapers.
How did they get away with this though?
I really like.
Because if that was...
We know. I know.
Like, if that was a group of
You
black,
have to be from
five black young kids doing the exact same thing. That would be called something else.
There has to be you have to have some sort of privilege where potentially being arrested for this won't ruin your life.
Do you know what I mean?
Or you must just have to really be down for saving the planet, because you need to know that, okay, cool. If you knew that spraying the News International building was going to tank your life, you probably wouldn't do it.
No.
Some of them would, because they care that much, and they believe in the cause. But you really do need to just be like, okay, well, someone will bail me out, or it won't be that bad, or I'll get my community service. If you're a black person, you'll be like, nah, man, because that's the way you just you can't risk it,
because it's not community service that you're getting.
Seeing them like, do you know what it's the fear. Like, I understand the buildings, like, spray paint, and they did it like Jaguar and all of these like luxury showrooms in like Mayfair. But the ones that really scare me, where I'm like, no, you guys are brave, it's the art.
Yeah.
Not you going to, was it did it do Mona Lisa?
I don't know, but probably.
There's all these like the girl with the pearl earring.
Probably.
Like, you're literally going to was it soup or paint? Maybe it's soup.
I think it was soup.
Yeah, because maybe they maybe they need to know that they can't actually permanently deface.
Yeah, but I do think they have a screen on them, on the actual painting.
Frame.
Yeah, like, as in, if something goes on it, it can come off.
They must do, because people are always around that Mona Lisa, and I know that they're spitting on stuff.
They can't be that careless.
Listen, I just would be scared to go to like a very famous picture, a very famous painting, and deface it.
Yeah,
like,
same.
I would literally be afraid of going to jail.
Same.
So I don't know how. And then on top of that, if I was to do it, I would throw the soup and I would run. I wouldn't be throwing the soup and then gluing myself to like holding hands, like, I'm gluing myself, saying, hey, I'm the perpetrator, I'm the suspect.
Also, what type of glue is it? And did you notice the difference between the UK police and French police?
What did the French police do?
Just drag the hand off. Whereas in
No,
the
they
UK police,
they're
actually
dissolving.
are dissolving the glue and taking time. They dragged the person, glued hand or not. They said, get out. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the UK one, they're like using the syringe to like slowly dissolve the glue.
That's the problem with the UK, That's why they get taken for granted every single time.
In France, I feel like the police just match the energy of the people, because the people, they also don't care. Like, they'll fight. Like, here everything is very mild and polite. Even like, except
someone's angry and they're saying they're livid.
That
tells you all you need to know.
Exactly. Unless obviously you're dealing with people of certain demographic, then you know how to use violence. But like, I just don't understand why they don't have fear, and they're like literally be like, I'm here, arrest me, officer.
Yeah,
I really believe in climate change, but I'm more of a stealth. I would literally throw the painting
and run.
I would throw it and run. I wouldn't even, I would throw it and then I would run a certain distance, and then I would change my clothes in the toilet and try to blend in. Because I know I'm not a runner. And I know by the time everything happens, I would be fine. But like, I'm not going to stand there to be arrested.
I hear that. Neither am I. I'm just not doing it. That's it, to be honest. I'm just not doing it.
I support. I retweet them.
Okay.
That's my.
You can support in other ways. You don't have to be there throwing soup.
Yeah. I also feel like it's very jobless. Like, I don't know. Like, I really appreciate people that are doing the work, but then it also,
Why?
Because
there are other ways. But
the planet is dying.
There are other ways, Lola.
Yeah, that's why I say I appreciate them. I don't want to be them. I appreciate them because somebody has to raise the awareness.
Okay, but if you're on your morning commute to work and a line of 10 people have blocked Blackwall Tunnel, you appreciate that. What has that got to, why?
Because either one and it raises awareness. No, I appreciate it. Like, I don't mind being inconvenienced small for the sake of our offspring.
I need to be inconvenienced positively. It needs to be like a strike and I can stay at home.
That you can,
it needs to be that sort of inconvenience.
I feel like because of the way we work now, I feel like striking don't even strike no more. Like,
it strikes next week.
It affects the city, but not as much.
It's still planned.
Yeah,
we all still.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why can't, like, I know that it wouldn't be helpful because there's public services and stuff like that.
No, but that's how it should be.
It should be like, okay, tomorrow we're striking. Done.
It needs to be.
It needs to be disruptive.
You need to feel just how bad it is when we're not around. Not you can plan to feel how bad it is when we're not around.
That's what I'm saying. The strike, like even the striking is like, okay, cool, I'll just work from home. It doesn't affect enough people.
Yeah.
That's why it's not going to be as helpful. Before, if there was a strike, the economy or whatever, you would feel it in like even in the GDP or whatever that was able to be created that day. Now it's like we just do the workarounds.
Exactly.
So we need alternative strike action. What time are we? Oh, we need to finish up. I do want to talk about one other thing though.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, in the news this week, there was a case. It was a very sad case, but like quite shocking actually. So basically, a woman has been awarded £420,000 at tribunal for sex-based harassment and victimization. So I found it really strange because they weren't able to release the name of the victim, so the person who won, or the name of the company or anything. And usually that's not normal, because if something goes to tribunal, it's public record. But this one, they wouldn't release her name. And I know when we were speaking about it, you speculated that
She's probably underage.
yeah,
Or young.
Yeah, maybe not underage, but young.
Very young.
So like teens or like early 20s or like
Yeah.
kind of grad kind of profile.
Yeah.
So basically, she had just joined the company. Her manager, she got on with, and then like apparently they become friends. They were like, you know, getting on well. And then he started to make advances. He would regularly send her the peach emoji in reference to her, and obviously everyone knows, like, it's widely recognized, and it was said at tribunal that the peach emoji is like your bum. Yeah. He was basically regularly talking about and messaging her about her bum. He made advances, said that, oh, he really likes her, doesn't she, like, no. And
This is crazy though. Sorry, I just have to pause you for a second, because that's a manager to their team member.
Yeah.
Regardless of age.
It's just mad.
That is wild.
Yeah. I don't understand, like do you have to be like do you literally have to be a moron to know that is like,
You have to be.
you're actually
you
a
have to
moron?
be.
And it was regular, and she had said no or whatever, and he just continued to send these peach emojis and say that he liked her and to make advances towards her. Then, to make matters worse, she put in a grievance, as she should have done, and the way the grievance was handled, basically the tribunal said it was so biased, and she was they basically sided with him, and they made her out to be a stereotypical kind of femme fatale. So basically, like, she seduced him, and she was like playing into all of the stereotypes that people have for women. And so there was a dispute over pay, and ultimately she left, and then she put in her claims, and she got so much money because it's had like a really significant, they said, debilitating impact on her. So she tells her family that she's working from home, but she's not working. She spends all day in bed. She hasn't told her family about this at all. So I think that's part of the reason that they wanted to shield her identity. She hasn't told her family, her colleagues, and
No one really knows that she's suffering.
Like her family, her friends,
herself.
no one knows that she's suffering. Basically, she's suffering alone, and she hasn't been able to tell anybody. And also, like, she lives with her parents. That's why we also thought that it was young.
Yeah.
She was young, sorry. So she spends all her time in her room. She's lied to her parents that she can work from home, but she literally just spends all day in bed. So she has depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress. So that all led to her being awarded this like big payout, and I think 24,000 was for injury to feelings, and 34,000 was for specifically psychiatric damage. And yeah, so
That's insane.
it's really sad. Like, you literally harass someone so much that they can no longer work because they have PTSD. Imagine
I actually hope there was nothing physical.
did they say there wasn't anything?
Because it's such a high amount, especially for the UK. In the UK, like 400 and something thousand in the UK is a lot of money.
I think part of it was because it was a sustained thing. It wasn't like a one-off. It was like literally continuous. And she had like obviously all the messages and stuff that he had sent her. Like, he'd been like, oh, I really like you. You know, don't you think we could make it work? And if not, like, maybe we just forget that I said this, and all of that sort of stuff where she didn't feel comfortable. And then on top of that, she did what she was supposed to do, and she complained. And then she did the thing that employees are always afraid of will happen when they submit a grievance. that you'll decide with the more senior person without even looking at the evidence or anything. She had screenshots. She had messages of him. How do you come away from that and not uphold her grievance? There's literally is like
because they will say she was entertaining it back.
Yeah, they'll say that she seduced him, or that's what they were trying to say basically.
But people react differently when they're in very uncomfortable situations. She could have easily just kind of like ha ha ha, kind of like try and give it back just so you can. She's uncomfortable and she's like, leave me alone. But people react in different ways. So you can't really just be like, oh, because she responded back to it that she was interested.
I think at one point she had definitely said that she didn't like, she wasn't interested in him in that way.
Wasn't he married as well?
He was married and he had kids.
Great.
She had tried to tell some people outside of work who had said that he was kind of acting a bit stalkerish. And she asked for a pay rise, and it says here she claimed the company had declined to raise her salary because she refused her manager's advances. And basically when they investigated the grievance, they just said, oh, he just said something, and they just accepted what he said. It's just very bad. Like it's just, I feel so sorry for her. And do you know what's really like, she's obviously got all this money and what will she even do?
She can't even tell her parents.
She can't even tell her parents. She don't want to share it with anybody, and she can't even get out of bed. Probably spend it on therapy. She's gonna have
to use a lot of it to sort of build herself back up.
Yeah,
and just focusing on herself, which I guess is why they've given her so much as well.
And the worst part about everything is, I understand why she wants to be anonymous, but as a result of her being anonymous, the business gets to be anonymous. The company that it's so annoying, and the man that did that to her will probably suffer no consequences and will probably be able to do it to somebody else.
And people won't know.
They won't know. And
his family might not even know.
The people of course, his wife will never know.
Won't know.
His wife will never know. Like, I remember I worked at a company once, and one of the guys in the leadership team was having an affair with somebody else at work, and his wife would come to events and everybody knew, but obviously no one would tell her. Like, that's literally a team that would basically take a grievance and not even take the person seriously is the kind of team that ain't going to tell. No one who's going to tell your wife.
Of
They're
course
not even allowed
not.
to anyway.
Exactly.
But I saw that and I just
mind your
thought,
business. But
yeah, I just saw it and I thought it was really shocking, just because of the amount and because of the situation that the woman was left in. Like, it was very sad.
So we do have one dilemma that I wanted to read out, because this lady sent it to us a while ago, and we did promise to read it out, but unfortunately life was just life in, and we never got around to it. So I do think we should take the opportunity to read it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes. So it goes, hey ladies, I hope you're keeping well. I always look forward to your episodes each week and have learned a lot from you all. So thank you. You are all amazing, and I pray God continues to bless you abundantly. Amen. Thank you. This is not really a dilemma, but I wanted to get your thoughts on how you deal with working in HR on a day-to-day basis, as it's not an easy area to work in at times, and is at most times really busy and demanding. I currently work in employee relations, and as much as I love what I do, it can sometimes feel draining, as the role is quite reactive and having to deal with challenging behaviours, especially when it comes to complex disciplinaries and grievancy cases. HR can sometimes bear the brunt of managers and employees' frustrations, and at times feel like a punching bag when we of course have to remain a professional. Do you have any tips with how to maintain a healthy work-life balance, and how to prevent working in HR having an impact with your mental health?
Do you want to go
first? First of all, I agree and I get it. We definitely are punching bags. We are counsellors, therapists, agony aunts, punching bags, scapegoats. We are all of that, and sometimes HR needs HR. But you know, that's why you need to have a solid team. I think when you've got a solid HR team, it's actually quite nice to be able to just bounce off each other. But work-life balance is definitely important. And I think we spoke about work-life balance before and maintaining it. You have to set boundaries. That's literally it. There's no other way. You have to set boundaries. You have to have a time where you're saying, this is my time when I come into work. This is my time when I leave work. These are my boundaries during work as well, sometimes, with what you can deal and what you can't deal with. You know, some people have employees that will shout at them. I personally don't, because I just won't deal with you. But there are some people that take that on, and you don't know that when you take that on, you take that home. You start thinking that, if you think about it at night, it's too much. So you have to set boundaries.
I would say also find your person at work. So having, like, sometimes we need to vent in real time. Like,
that's so important.
If you could find somebody who you can speak to, obviously ideally someone who's in the same like team, or someone that you can share with confidentially. Like, so for instance, when I was a standalone HR manager, I used to do it with the lawyer. Okay. Because even though she wasn't an employment lawyer, she would support and stuff, and I could share confidential things with her. Yeah. Sometimes HR and finance have that sort of relationship as well. So just someone that you can vent to and share things and just get things off your mind in real time. I find that very helpful. And also, you know, again, understanding your boundaries and understanding when is too much for you, and also trying to make some of those improvements. Sometimes it can be very draining, and sometimes the reason it can be draining is because of processes or ways of dealing with things which are not conducive to like having a stress-free environment. So to the extent that you can change processes or procedures or the way you engage with, you know, the team, that can help. So for instance, like, you know, how do you engage with managers? Do they just call you up, or actually are there proactive opportunities for you to engage with them? So for instance, do you have like a weekly drop-in session where they can come and bring any issues that they have? Is there like, you know, other mechanisms? Because when you don't have any of those other touch points, sometimes we would just jump in your inbox and be like, oh, how can you help me with this? What other resources are available for them? Like, can you do workshops? Are there FAQs? Are all the policies very clear, so that, you know, you don't have to engage on a one-to-one like basis with everybody? You can just direct them and avoid some of the conversations.
I think that's also very important, because the random emails or even just the knocks on the door can be very disruptive. Like, you know, you're working on something and you could that knock on the door can happen like 5-6 times in one day,
and everything is urgent.
Everything's a priority, and everything's important. Some of it is, but some of it at the same time is like, you know, respectfully, it's not. So yeah, the boundaries there. And I do agree with Lola in terms of finding your person, and that's why I said it's also important to have, for me, it's important to have a good team, because I need to also feel safe when I'm venting. And know that, because you can be in teams where you feel like if you're venting, it's not a safe space.
And they could use it against you like later or whatever. You want to feel safe.
Exactly. I'm trying to see what else she said. She works in ER, which obviously probably one of the most toughest places to work within the HR department. Challenging behaviours is what it is.
And the challenging behaviours is always tough, but there's a difference between someone having challenging behaviour and that challenging behaviour being directed towards you. Because for me, at the point at which your challenging behaviour starts being directed towards me, and for instance, if it's like insults or if it's like harassment, when it's directed towards me, like then I need to know my boundary, and I need to know that I need to tell you my boundary. And if you don't respect that, I'm well within my rights to engage. Sometimes
actually just shut down.
But sometimes us as HR, we create an environment where people feel that they can treat us like punching bags. There's this perception that no matter what happens, we need to be professional at all times. People can shout at us. It's like working in customer service. You know, like you think that you can go to a shop and speak to someone anyhow, but because you're the customer, they can't speak to you back. And the day that they tell you to F off, you're going to be like, how could you, but you said it to them
yes,
first.
Exactly.
So people think that HR is like that, and I really don't think it is.
No.
I do think it's important to remain professional at all times, but doesn't mean that you need to allow yourself to be a punching bag. At the point in which someone's behavior becomes inappropriate to you, such that it makes you feel uncomfortable, then you're well within your rights to disengage with that person. And you tell them, like I've told people before, like very directly, very politely, professionally, that I am here to support you. I want to support you. I appreciate that what you're going through is very difficult. However, I am an employee just like you. We have to have mutual respect. You need to show me the same level of respect that I'm showing you. I am not a punching bag. And if you want me to help you, you need to show me that level of respect. And if you're not going to do that, then I'm not going to be able to help you. And at that point, people will either fix up, or they just start moving mad, and you don't
madness.
Yeah, and you don't help them.
Yeah. I'm just thinking back to this one time. This girl was getting so frustrated in a I was doing a dismissal, and she was getting so frustrated that she started making up lies.
About what?
So her manager, she basically had an issue with her manager. It wasn't working out. She was underperforming. She was within probationary period, so it was very easy to just be like, listen, this is not working out. So I was there, and I had to give her the news, and
Why did you have to give her the news?
To dismiss her.
Yeah. Why is the manager not giving it to her?
No. Okay, well, she was quite volatile though.
Okay.
As in, like, we had security escort her out the building.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's why her manager's like, no, I'm out.
Yeah, her manager, to be fair, doesn't like confrontation.
Who likes confrontation?
No, I know, but I get it. Like, she was just sweet, like a really sweet, she didn't deserve that, basically.
You didn't deserve that.
No, but I guess this is what we're talking
about. Yeah, this is it. This is
what we're talking about.
Manage your people,
and dismissed her. And as on her way out, she starts calling me a liar, and you're making all of this up, and you're lying for it. You're lying. Just admitting you're lying. And I'm like, lying about what at this point? Like, dismissing you? I don't understand. But anyway, she left, and then she wrote a letter to the CEO and didn't copy in anyone else. So I'm now finding this random letter that's gone to the CEO that's been brought to me. And in this letter, it says that during her dismissal meeting, that the manager went to go and lunge for her, physically tried to attack her, and I had to separate them. And I was like, wait,
that never happened.
When did that happen? But it just shows you some madnesses that people have and challenging behaviors. And after that, she actually kept stalking and calling the phones and dropping, and it was very mad behavior. And she got a new job across the road. It was actually scary behavior. I was thinking, no, she's actually stalking, and she might attack me one day when I'm walking home. But
I've had people
it was scary.
Accuse you. Actually, one time, I've seen it more than once, where if you're the one who does the disciplinary, or you're the one who handles the HR person who handles the grievance,
it's your fault.
And but they will then submit another grievance and name you as
it's your fault
against you. Against you. Yeah. Imagine you just chairing a disciplinary meeting, and the outcome is not what they want, and then now they put a grievance against you for doing your job.
I really need people to know, and this goes for everybody that's watching, that's ever been in some sort of formal disciplinary. The decision does not lie with HR. We can only advise. The person who's chairing ultimately makes that decision and are comfortable with that decision. We will coach them and we will support them, but it's not our decision. And I feel like people need to know that, because you come and attack us. I was going to say me, but you come and attack us as if we sat here and was like, yep, that person.
Especially when it's worse because it was your behaviour that brought us here more times.
That too, that part. But yeah,
public service announcement.
That's another conversation for another day.
We're gonna have to wrap up.
Thank you for all the love, support over the past few weeks. The ones that have been really just hanging in there whilst we've been laughing. So really appreciate it, and please continue to share, comment, subscribe, and everything. What you guys are doing now is amazing. So just continue to do that.
That's a wrap, guys.
Bye.